All right. Welcome to the webinar. My name is Deborah Gallant. I work for Entrepreneurs Forever, and I put on these monthly programs called Deep Dives that can go in a little bit more depth to topics that I know people are interested in and are talking about, and you might not get to in your regular monthly group. So I'll talk just a little bit about Entrepreneurs Forever. I know that most of you are either members or alums, so I think I won't go too far into that. I'll mention our upcoming programs. I'll do the presentation, and then we'll have some sharing and open discussion. And there is a worksheet, and I'll share that in a moment too. We're going to record all of it up to the sharing. So if you have things you really want to talk about, or you want to do some brainstorming, but not worry about it being recorded forever, don't worry about it. We do that at the end. So I heard from most of you about who you are. I wonder if any of you have any special issues or questions that brought you to come spend this hour and a half with us. If you want to type them into the chat, just like what's going on for you that you thought this passive income topic was interesting. Or you can unmute and just tell us what made it interesting for you. Anyone?
I wanted to say that my concern would be making certain that I am able to promote proper way because my company does allow for passive income to be done through travel and specifically for individuals who join as members, but at the same time, we have the opportunity to share it with nonprofit groups as well.
Interesting. Okay, that might be something we go into in that end part because that might be very specific to you. But thank you for sharing that, Sharon. Anybody else want to mention why are you here today? What is it about passive income that interested you?
I'm looking to fill my slow season because I don't have summer is my slowest season and I need some income. So passive would be a great way to bridge that gap.
Great. Thanks, Kim.
You will.
All right. So, about Entrepreneurs Forever, our mission is to empower small business owners to grow thriving businesses that sustain your family and support your community. A very worthwhile thing. We do that mostly with our peer groups. Next month, actually, I think Kevin may have changed the name of this. It's like The Price is Right, right? So, is it time to raise prices? And if you've ever struggled with pricing your products or services, this will be a really good one. Monday, August 11th at 4 o'clock. I always promote the next one during this one and at the beginning because otherwise I just forget to do it. So there you go. My other disclaimer, this presentation does not take place of professional advice from your own paid advisors. So make sure you check and make sure you're doing everything the way you're supposed to, and it's legal and it's proper and it's regulated. And the other thing I added for a second disclaimer is this is not a webinar that's going to teach you how to become an internet influencer or a social media guru or I'm there are people who will sell you that program, right? You've all heard of these programs that say, "Oh, you don't have to work so hard. All you do is create a book and everybody buys it or whatever." I'm not doing that. I'm talking about taking the core of your business, what you already do, and figure out how to make more money with what you know, what you have, the resources at your disposal. So, if anyone came thinking they were going to learn to be an internet guru, well, you can go jump off. It's okay. I won't mind. Okay, let me see if I can throw this poll up. Polls and quizzes. All right, let's launch it. If you stopped working for 30 days, what percentage of your business revenue would continue? You should all have this up. Oh my goodness. I'm not liking what I'm seeing here. Now I know why you're all here. All right, there's one person who hasn't gotten to it. I'm going to end the poll and tell you the results. Oh my goodness. None is the answer that six of you gave, and the other two said less than half. That is really sad. What does that say to you about what's going on in your business?
You have to be there. If you don't show up, you don't get paid.
Well, it's me, myself, and I. So if I'm not there, nothing gets done.
And I think that this is a problem that many small business owners, especially solo, are in because it's all on your shoulders. If you're not there, which is why having some sources that potentially don't rely quite so much on you could be a really great thing, which is why you're here. So that's all good. Has anyone actually seen other business owners create any passive income streams successfully? If there are any stories or examples, or anyone who tried to do it and didn't do it well, or Sharon, you said in your travel business, you've seen other people do this. What are they doing?
They are uh, actually getting members to do more traveling than I do. And you really have to promote it in such a way that you are able to get people to join in. Um, the other part with respect to, I have to do more trips. Generally, I'm only planning maybe one or two, and now I'm beginning to realize I need to do more than one or two.
Yeah, so one of the things that's surfacing and something that you're saying is that sometimes it's not about passive income, it's just having more things for people to buy,
Right,
whatever that is, right?
right.
And we're going to start with that as well. Anybody else seen any stories or examples or things that people have done or tried to do? I get a check for $28 every month deposited into my account because when I was doing full-time business coaching, I signed 4 people on to Constant Contact, and I'm an affiliate. I don't know what my title is. I'm a silver affiliate, whatever. And as long as they keep paying Constant Contact, I get paid. It's not going to make me rich, but I'll take the $28. Anybody else? We have 11 of you on now. Somebody must have seen someone do some interesting things with passive income. Nope. All right.
I guess I have. I'm in placement, and some of my counterparts, they have agreements with home care that if they give them a lead that is using their service, they get a percentage of that as long as that income is coming in.
So that's a referral.
A
Fee.
referral, yeah. And it's ongoing as long as they need home care. So, but I have not been as bold to do that.
What would make that bold for you?
I guess I give leads with the idea that I'm going to get leads back from them. I'm giving them referral business. They're going to give referral business back to me. But I do think I give more leads out than I get back. I probably 3 or 4 to 1.
Hmm. Maybe you need to just make note of that for yourself is how do you just get more of those, right?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to get started.
Oh, I just put a couple things in the chat.
Okay. You want
Um,
to just say them?
Yep. So where I do my packaging for my product,
Mm-hmm.
that person ended up renting out her space, and that's passive income for her that she did not have prior. Um,
Great.
and then the other thing is, I'm thinking about you doing a subscription program during my peak seasons, which I've got to figure out how to do that.
Yep. Those are great. And we'll get to them. And the unused kitchen is a huge one. And Bonnie, I'm going to be on you about that because we talked about running baking classes in your space. And I think that would be amazing. The worksheet is now dropped into the chat. It's a Google Doc. You might want to make your own local copy of it so you can take notes as you go along. And I'm going to keep going. Okay, so this is really funny. There's Bella the baker. It's not Bonnie the baker, it's Bella the baker, and Bud the bookkeeper. I felt like I needed to create some real businesses so that we can sort of talk about how they might parse some of what we're going to talk about. So one of them is a product business, and that's very relevant for Bonnie and for Kimberly for sure. And then Bud the bookkeeper, which is more of a service business, which for instance would be a Sharon or a Kathy or a B. And it's not limited to them. I just felt like I wanted to create these fictional businesses so we could make some of this a little more real. We're going to identify what I call the untapped assets of your business, and they can come from a bunch of different places. And this is on your worksheet. What you know, who you know, what you own, what you've built. And we're going to hopefully, by the end, help you each identify at least one hidden revenue opportunity in your business. So before we start for creating anything new, I want you to look at what you're already selling. So on your worksheet, I want you to just list the things that you're selling, what's selling best, what's most profitable, what requires the most effort, and what you enjoy the most. And I'll ask you to just take a few minutes to think about it. And Kathy, when you say, all right, I do referrals to agencies, but maybe it's referrals for assisted living or it's referrals to a specific place, you can parse it depending on what it is you do. So, Bonnie, it could be retail, it could be wholesale accounts, it could be special orders versus retail. You think about how you want to classify what it is you sell, but you need to sort of just start with a starting point of what is it I'm selling now and what's selling best, what's the most profitable, what requires a lot of effort. Sometimes what you uncover is that even though you love making those custom cakes, there's a threshold beyond which you can charge and it doesn't become profitable. But if you like doing it enough, it's okay to do it. But stopping and pausing and saying, let me just look at what I'm selling and what I enjoy the most, what requires the most effort, what's difficult. What if I didn't sell it tomorrow? I'd be delighted to not sell it anymore. This is going to be different for all different people depending on what you sell. So B might love to specialize in what do they call them? Accessory dwelling units, right? Except maybe those people are really hard to work with or they can't get zoning permission. So, you need to look at the pros and cons of the various things that you sell and just make sure that you're focusing on the ones that, I don't know, you have the strength in, that you're interested in, that are profitable for you. Um, and I know a couple of you have multiple lines, like Jim has tried doing some of the cyber stuff, and I know he does hiring. Joan has a learning center. So think through what you have that's selling best, what's most profitable, and put this on your worksheet. I'm going to drop the link in again in case anyone missed it. There it is.
So I've narrowed down my like cookie selection and brownie selection that I offer to wholesale like multiple times. And then I keep thinking, well, I have like the course, let's say there's a course 6, but it's still always me that has to make it. But I think there's a good blend of things that cost money to make because chocolate is so incredibly high right now. But there's other ones that are labor intensive but don't cost a lot to make, but they take time to make. So I think
Yeah,
I
some
think
of this
about
is
that a
is
lot.
is digging deep and going, what's the right thing that's the balance of what I can charge, what I can make,
Yeah.
the cost of the ingredients. Kim, do you struggle with some of this stuff as well? She's nodding at you.
I have one product with 3 flavors and different product sizes, and I have a co-packer. It's just hard for me to find like that I have assets other than the equipment that I bought that I'm not using. I could
Well,
probably.
we'll talk about that, but here's the thing though. You could potentially sell it in different sizes. You could potentially sell it wholesale to different channels, right?
Oh yeah. Yep.
So
Mhm.
there's different, this is not the thing to say find more customers for your existing products. We're going to try to find some alternative revenue streams. But I feel like if I don't start with you doing some at least startup analysis of what it is you're
Mhm.
selling today, what works and doesn't work, the rest of it kind of doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, yeah. So my big reveal was that selling in the summer doesn't work. So now I have to leverage the other seasons of the year and then try to get into stores. So I am working on that piece.
Can you freeze your things?
Yeah. Mhm.
Would they be a good frozen treat?
Depends. Just got to give them that warning about crowns and those types of things.
Ouch!
They were actually amazing frozen. Yeah.
I bet they would be.
Mhm.
Is anybody else having any ahas or sort of interesting thoughts surface as they think about their product and service mix? I see a lot of people with their cameras and their audio off, but you're all welcome to share.
I
Okay.
find that travel shouldn't be hard to sell, and yet it seems that a lot of people are familiar with using, say, another website, but at the same time, there are quite a few who are saying they're wanting an agent to do it for them. And in so doing, they um, get me to give them some information, and then all of a sudden they choose to go with somebody else. And I'm
Well,
trying to figure that
I'm
out.
going to ask you to put a pin in that because honestly, Sharon, that
Uh-huh.
might be something you could sell, which is not the whole trip, but advice about booking trips. So they could pay you for an hour of your time and then you don't actually have to do the booking. I think the alternative to you is booking it yourself. So you need to think about what the value proposition is of booking it through you, but maybe there's another way for you to work around that. All right, we are going to dive ahead into our assets. So, asset number one is what you know. What do you know a lot about? What do you explain to clients or prospects all the time? And don't limit yourself. So, on your worksheet, think about what do you know about? So, Kim's things are gluten-free. So, you know a lot about gluten-free products. You know about a lot about the competitive set. You know about what it takes to get the certification, about working with co-packers. I mean, you know a lot of stuff. Bonnie, selling wholesale, knows about what it's like to sell to the berry farm and to wait for them to pay their invoices and deliveries and returns and health labels. And there's stuff that you know a lot about, even if you don't know you know it, because it's so close to you. So, specific product expertise, processes. Have you written a training manual for what you do? Any of that could go into the what you know. And I'm going to give you my example businesses here.
I mean, that was one of the things I thought about was selling knowledge, right? And for the travel agent, the people keeps picking her brains and then booking outside of her. And like you said, here's a price for an hour of me teaching you how to find the travel.
That's right. So here's with Bella the baker. Here's some ways that she can monetize it. And we're going to go back and have you guys write some of this stuff up. Create baking videos, create recipes or a cookbook, teach baking classes, have folks pay her to apprentice. There are people who want to learn how to bake. Let them pay you to watch you and help you. Why not? Teach a class on how to start a bakery or, what it is like to get a commercial kitchen going, things like that. Bud the bookkeeper could create videos, teach someone how to use QuickBooks, a consultation. They could edit someone's QuickBooks. They could annually review it. So on your worksheet, what you're going to try to do is think about how you can take what you know, and I'm not saying this is that there's no cost to you to create this, right? Writing an ebook about how to start a bakery is not a nothing. But honestly, once it's done, if you could sell it for $20 a time and all the people have to do is hit download off and pay you by credit card, that's like my Constant Contact subscription, and the money just could keep coming in. So could you write an ebook, create a checklist or a video? There are plenty of people who charge for subscriptions to things like that. Run a training program or a support group. Um, I never saw this before, but I was on somebody's Facebook page, and you can have paid subscribers on Facebook. So if you're posting new recipes every week, they'll pay you 99 cents a month for it. I mean, it's not going to make you rich. I heard, is this politically correct? Shitting nickels, right? It's not a lot of money, but if it's enough of it, there's some constant churn. So there are different ways to sell knowledge, and it's evolved a lot, right? This stuff used to be, oh, the guru would sell you this program. That stuff's still out there. I don't know. People are trying to sell me this stuff all the time. Have you guys seen a lot of this? Jim, in your cybersecurity space, are people trying to sell, programs?
I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure what they're trying to sell. It's like the wild, wild west out there right now with AI coming into the market and everything. Um, we find people that just don't care. They'll take the risk. They don't even care if they're secure.
That's crazy. All right. So asset number one is what you know. And somewhere on your worksheet, you should have written under what I know, is there some way you can monetize something about your knowledge, the stuff that you know a lot about? And you could also combine it with another one in a minute in terms of sometimes the people who would best be able to pay you for this might be part of another group or a partner group or something like that. So you need to think about how to get those people as well. So we talked about Bella and Bud. Now we're going to who you know. This is your business connections. Think referrals, strategic partnerships, affiliates, and think about what your customer is buying before they buy from you or after they buy from you. Because I don't know, if I'm going to eat a baked good, I probably want a cup of coffee with it. I don't know, could you have a coffee wagon, park at that little East Chatham stop and have people buy from your bakery and of course you could, but you need to invite the coffee truck to come and sit there or get a coffee cart. So when you think about who you know, it's all the people in your community. So it's people in a commercial kitchen or at your co-packer or people who do something that is similar to what you do. So for Sharon, who books travel, maybe it's a limo company that drives people to the airport, or maybe it's the people who ship your luggage ahead of time, or think about what the customer experience is of what they buy from you and think about that. And maybe a trusted partner could add value either before or after you do this. This is my Constant Contact thing probably goes here because I knew Constant Contact. I still like it. It's an affiliate program. And then there's the referral bonuses like we were just hearing from Kathy about. So for Bella the Baker, there's that provide the local coffee truck with baked goods or have them come sit at your place. A referral fee from suppliers. Like, I don't know who you're buying your flour from, but my guess is they wouldn't mind to selling their flour to more people. I know Ginsberg's gives you a discount. A discount program through the local chamber to send new customers. Not really passive, but it's creatively deploying your relationships to get more customers for what you do. Bud, the bookkeeper, this is the really obvious one to me, is a lot of accountancy firms, the people who do your taxes, don't do regular monthly bookkeeping. And you absolutely should have symbiotic relationships with them so that you send business to them and they send business to you. Referrals to and from financial advisors for money management. And then QuickBooks online, you could be getting affiliate fees as you line customers up for that. So does anybody have any thoughts on how this might be able to work for them? What partnerships could you be doing? Anybody?
I like your idea of who you know. Um, and I hadn't given that as much thought as I should have probably. So uh, I'll give it a try. The other part that I was thinking about was creating a blog. My um, problem with creating a blog, though, how to get it out there and making sure that the blog is being read by more than I'm not someone on social media that much because of being hacked and being hacked. I've chosen to stay away from it. So I know that you can change your
Yeah, no,
password, that kind of thing. So
yeah,
anyway,
Sharon, actually, I think the who you know from my perspective for how this is helpful to you. Let's say, all right, so it was the sesquicentennial year. What if you had done with a local church group a trip to see the landmarks of the Civil War or of the Revolutionary War, and you send them to Boston or something where you the who you know is plugging into a group of people who would uh, be excellent prospects for what it is that you're selling. So there's the helping you find more people without you having to go and find them.
thanks.
Anybody else ever have affiliate programs in anything other than me and Constant Contact? Anyone else ever have one of those work for them? All right. That I think that would go to the one that Kathy described for the home health aides too.
So Constant Contact, that's I think who does our franchise newsletters. So you get people to sign up to, or how do you get, I don't understand really how
Yeah,
you
so
do something.
the reason that I get an affiliate fee from them is when I was doing full-time business coaching, I would encourage my clients, businesses just like yours, to use Constant Contact. If they sign up and then they keep using it every month when they pay their fee, I get a piece of that and it automatically just shows up in my bank account. And there are lots of things like that. There are credit cards, website promotion. If you're a business coach or a business consultant, those programs can be really helpful. I would imagine, Jim, in your world and the tech world, there's probably affiliate programs, but I don't know offhand any of them.
Yeah, I've signed several over the past couple of months, mostly because I just provide independent third party cybersecurity assessments. There are people that need the solutions and an MSSP to look over it. So I have a few contracts signed with affiliates that I get like 10% of some number if I'm able to refer a client and they sign it.
Yeah. So, let's say Kim was using a shared kitchen and the kitchen was looking for more tenants. If she did the referral to a new tenant, they might offer her a signing bonus. So, it's being aware that there are other vendors out there who you have contact with who you could get some business from and that maybe could end up being passive income.
The other mostly passive incomes I've seen from people is when they find someone young with that passion and they fund them to start a business and then they get paid because they become like a minority equity holder.
Hmm.
And so when the business makes money, they get some piece of it.
Yeah, that's almost like being an investor.
It is.
Yeah, I'm talking about really easy. The constant contact thing was easy. They press my link and I get $28. Okay. Asset number three is what you own. So even virtual businesses have some assets. Do you have a retail store? Do you have storage? Do you have a trailer? Do you have a vehicle? A portable display booth? Equipment, kitchens, vehicles, inventory, meeting rooms, anything that you have that somebody else might be able to value could be interesting to turn into passive income. So let's go to Bella. Bella could be renting out her kitchen in the off hours. She could run baking workshops in her off hours. She could deliver goods on her regular route for another supplier. She could rent out the van on a day when it's not in use. Honestly, I was stuck with Bud because it's him and his QuickBooks. I'm not sure what else he could rent out, what else that he actually owns. But the idea is, what can you get? What utilization can happen from what you already have without it making more work for you? And this is number 4 is a big one. Make sure you're covered insurance wise for whatever it is. So let's say you have a pop-up tent and a booth that you go to farmers markets with, and you only use it once a week, and someone wants to go to a different farmers market and they just hang their sign over yours, and it explodes, it falls on them during a rainstorm. You're going to want to make sure you had an agreement with them and it's insured so that everybody's covered if your stuff is being used by someone else. You know, a commercial kitchen, what happens if they start a fire, break your equipment or whatever? However, make sure you're still covered. But anyone who has space or vehicles or equipment, there's stuff you could be doing with that. All right. We talked about Bella and Bud. What you've already built. So this is intellectual property that you don't even know you have because you're so smart. You've developed this. Systems, SOPs, which is a standard operating procedure, a training program, a methodology, a template, whatever it is that you may have already created and you don't even know how valuable that could be to somebody else. So, could you teach this? Could you license it to somebody else? Could you package it? Could you sell access to it? Any of those are possible. And let's look at Bella and Bud. So Bella could be teaching those baking classes. She could license her name or recipes to another startup baker. I mean, I bet that you learn a lot when you are starting up your own business. I don't know, Kimberly, is there a baker in California that would like to have a fantastic gluten-free recipe and it's straight from Soul Good Confections in Saugus, Mass? I don't know, but until you think about who else might value the what you've already created, unless you're shipping what you're doing, they're probably not your competitor. Why not?
Deb, I was thinking, and this is just, it doesn't really make sense though for me to do, but like I have Salesforce and I always put all my networking people in the system. And if somebody was in the same industry, but not a competitor, but something different, even your email contacts are valuable to other people that, you know, I might have a lot other contacts than they have and vice versa, but I don't know how that you can monetize that.
Well, one of the things you could do easily is do some cross referrals, but you could, for instance, do you do a newsletter yourself already?
Corporate does it, and so we have two go out every month.
So if it was your own, and I'm not sure if you can do this with corporate, sometimes people, I'm going to call it renting their list. So on behalf of those other people, you send a one-time email and you charge for the opportunity to reach those people who are on your list with their message. Um, I actually tell a really memorable story when I teach a networking workshop about a guy who I had a meeting with from Northwestern Mutual Life, so a big life insurance company. And he had, before our coffee meeting, this is years ago, downloaded every single one of my LinkedIn contacts, had printed them out on a piece of paper, and he handed it to me and he said, will you just check off anyone who's gone through a major life change here so I can reach out to them and tell them that you said they just had a baby and they should be buying life insurance? And I'm like, are you kidding? I actually called the guy's supervisor and I go, this man does not understand what networking is. However, if he had approached it in a different way or said, and I'm actually a big fan of life insurance, especially if you just got married or you just had a kid or there's been some life event. I would easily and happily have shared with him if we'd had some arrangement that wasn't tell me who to get in touch with. But I
Right.
think you're right there. This goes back to number two is who you know is really valuable to somebody. And because they're not your names, they're going into your company. I'm not quite sure how the corporate newsletter, but maybe you sell them an ad in it. I don't know.
It is my list. It's not, I've developed the list, but I know you also don't want to taint your reputation. You
That's
know what I
exactly
mean?
right. So Bud the bookkeeper could be teaching bookkeeping, teaching QuickBooks, training or licensing people under him, get an official QuickBooks certification, because when you have that, then you get listed on the website as a QuickBooks certified bookkeeper. So there's lots of ways to take what you know and monetize it. Now, what you'd really like to be able to do is create recurring revenue, right? Things that are people subscribe to, their monthly workshops, their regular referral agreements, their regular rental agreements or memberships, so that I don't know, maybe Kim, there's a flavor of the month and flavor of the quarter, and they by subscribing, they get the first batch. Or I'm not exactly sure what it is because everybody's business is different. But if you can figure out the mystery trip, the whatever it is, and get people to buy into doing it on a regular basis, then they don't stop and think about it, and you get a regular revenue stream. I was actually thinking, Kathy, with your uh, specific space, people don't really know when they're going to need it or how they're going to, right? Because frequently it's an emergency or, there's a hospital crisis. You somehow need to get people to look at you as that source of trusted information for when it is right, so that when that trigger hits, that you're the person that they call. So thinking whether it's a workshop, and maybe it's free because it's the way to get them in the door, is what you need to know to keep your parent in their house. But when they can't anymore, I don't know. There's probably something in there.
I do a continuing education course at the community college on signs that your loved one might need help and what steps to take.
So what are the first things? What are the first signs?
There's 12 signs, and so it can be, health problems, but like when the kids come home for Christmas, Thanksgiving, nothing's in the refrigerator. They're not eating right. They're not cooking for themselves. They're not paying their bills and med management. There's yesterday's meds. Some are still there. Um, are all warning
All right.
signs.
So you could take that and turn it into a pamphlet or an ebook or a checklist and sell it online. Doesn't have to be a lot. I'm going to say 99 cents, but it could probably be 9.99. Bring this home and check in when you go home at Thanksgiving. And if an adult child prints that out and goes through it, they're going to come back to you to buy from. In the meantime, you made $10 off of them. So you're taking what you've already got, which makes sense that you're teaching at the community college, and packaging it in a different way.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So developing related products or programs, offering ancillary products or services, so things that add on to whatever it is you do, and then bundling the products. So it's your thing, but it's also someone else's thing. So what else does the person who's buying your gluten-free caramels buy? They're also buying other things that are gluten-free. What else are they buying?
Well, I'm thinking about birthday cake. When they are having a birthday, they could have there's always somebody that has a food intolerance, so then you could bring some caramels so that everybody gets to have dessert.
So if I were you, I would find a baker near you who does gluten-free birthday cakes and offer the birthday cake, the birthday package that includes the gluten-free birthday cake and the caramels for everyone to take home,
Mm.
right? Because people are buying all of it together, and now they're buying a package of 12 or 24 all at the same time, that goes with the package, and it helps the birthday cake baker and it helps you.
Great idea.
So bundling can be a really helpful idea. So on your worksheet, I want you to write down my strongest asset is. So we've talked through a lot of stuff. What's the thing that sort of surfaced for you that is the biggest asset that you have and the opportunity to monetize? And think about what the first step is to move that forward at some level. This is like what we do in our peer groups, committing to something, and my target completion date for this. And we're going to share it in a moment. And we can do some more brainstorming if you feel you're still stuck after all of this. We'll work on brainstorming. I'm going to stop the recording in a moment. So my strongest asset, the opportunity, my first step, and when I'm going to get it done by. Joan, I know you came on late, but one of the things that occurs to me with a Sylvan Learning Center is that when there's no one in that space, it's like this computer equipped workspace that somebody might want to use. The Chamber of Commerce, people who are teaching webinars. There's probably something really interesting there. I don't know what it is, but the space of a learning center should certainly be usable. All right. So I'm going to stop the recording in a moment, and I'm going to ask you guys to share what's one revenue idea or opportunity that arose from the workshop and see if you have any ideas for the others or any colleagues. So I'm going to stop sharing. All right. Who came up with something good and fun and interesting and creative that you didn't think about before?